Hello everybody, welcome back to the Limit of Adhesion Season 2. This is round 10 of 12 in the Championship. My name is Gareth, joining me as always in the commentary box is Jim. Jim, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Hello everybody, hello Gareth. Back into Tsukuba. I do like this track. I'm going to see how it goes with the Skip Barbers.
Yeah, it should be very exciting. And just a reminder as always that you can find our news, reviews and videos at thelimitofadhesion.com. We've got everything on there, including some fun videos. Let's take a look at the Drivers' Championship then. David Lyne now the championship leader and extending his lead after Summit Point. Rob Miller in second. Is it a two-horse race now, Jim, do you think?
Yeah, I think it might have been for a while. Lyne has been ever powerful up at the top, and with the mistakes and the problems that Kelly had, for example, last week, I think Lyne's been very fortunate to pick up a few extra wins and extend that lead.
Indeed, yeah. And as we take a look at the team's championship then, the Stupid Aguri team still up on top and pretty much have been there the whole season, haven't they? So Keith Chegwin Memorial team in second place, not too far behind, but I feel like one hand on the title for Stupid Aguri, pretty much the way it's been all season, don't you think?
Yeah, it's good to see a different team and a different driver win the Constructors and the Teams Championship, I think, or the Drivers' Championship. It's very entertaining. But anyway, let's have a look at the track.
This week we're at Tsukuba for our third of 4 visits to Japan. Turn 1 is one of 3 hairpins on this twisty infield of this track where drivers can take one of several lines. The twistiness of Tsukuba is increased as this layout features an extra chicane at Turn 6 which wasn't included in Season 1 when we visited. Turn 10 is a sweeping right-hander and you can take more speed than you think thanks to the generous runoff area before you cross the line to do it all over again. Expect a quick lap time of just over a minute with the skippies. It's no surprise who's on pole position. It's David Lyne once again, and we're on his lap now. So you're looking at the left-hand side for your braking marker. It's those barriers. You can use them to figure out where to stop your car. Lyne goes down into first gear, late apex, which is important because you want to get as much speed as possible through this weird slight left-right chicane, and you're going to brake onto the on-camber second hairpin. Use the angle of the track to get yourself round as Lyne does. And then on this section for this moto layout, you want to stick as right as you can because you take it. Oh, look at him taking so much grass because you want to get that exit out into this little run up. It's going to be much slower this time round compared to last season. Braking again for the final hairpin. Lyne using almost the grass, and it's a little bit of a weird decision because you want to take as much speed as possible down this final back straight, but it's not really hurting Lyne this time round. Looking on the left-hand side for your turn-in point for the final sweeping right-hander. Lyne goes down to third gear and you want to just plant your right foot down, use the runoff, and Lyne gets his pole position with 103.974. And that lap was a quarter of a second better than anyone else for Lyne's 5th pole of the season, where he's joined by Garlic, who puts his Williams on the front row for a season best P2. Another PB is for Tranter, who starts 3rd, edging out Kelly in 4th, who continues his run of qualifying on the front 2 rows. Title hopeful Miller leads row 3 as a sole little and large for the remainder of the season, and has a second Stupid Aguri of Batty in company for 6th. Richards wasn't far off the pace of those in front of him in 7th, and well ahead of those behind. Half a second separates his Williams from Kimberley's Alpha Blobby in 8th. Winslade's first qualifying for verge of grip without a penalty is a disappointing 9th, and he's in a blobby sandwich as Dixon starts 10th. KCMT bookend the grid as Jones rounds off the final position. Hankin is unable to race for the remainder of the season, and Burnett sits out this round too.
Here we are on the grid then for the start of this race. David Lyne on pole once again. James Garlic alongside him. What a fantastic qualifying he had. Lights about to go red then. Here we go. Look out for Mark Tranter in 3rd place. Best qualifying he's had for a long time. Lights gone green then. Good start by David Lyne and by Garlic and by Tranter. As they head down to turn 1 then. Such a short run down here, so be interesting to see what happens. And Lyne is in lead still as they go round, but Tranter looking to the outside of Garlic. No way through there. And then we've got the 2 Stupid Aguris and Rob Miller battling each other. Miller ahead of Stephen Batty as we come through that tight second hairpin.
It really makes the cars go single file, doesn't it, when you go through that bit? And you're right, Lyne, or the top 3, just had a tremendous getaway and just didn't seem to be a way through. So it's this final section of the track, I think. You can have very different lines for this final hairpin. that we might get a run down the longest straight on the track.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting because obviously the moto section limits the run that you get to that final hairpin. So it'll be difficult to get a pass going in there, but we'll see what happens. Look at that Lyne looking quite comfortable out front. Garlic still second place. We're looking further down the order then. That's the Gary Richards in second, Williams. Look at that, Mark Tranter now hunting to James Garlic, and he's forcing him wide.
Garlic should have the inside line as we come to this middle hairpin now, but he might get a better run, Tranter, on the outside.
Look at that, he's just fearless right around the outside. That is amazing. So Mark Tranter now up into second place.
I'm amazed that he made that move stick, but you're completely right. That's on fairly cold tyres, and fearless is probably the right word for that, because sticking the car around the outside, knowing your competitors on the inside who can run you a little bit wide, but continuing to do so, yeah, well placed move, and then had the inside line for the following corner.
Yeah, absolutely, and we can see Gavin Kelly now pressuring Garlic as well. He was looking on the inside of the previous hairpin. And is that Stephen Batty trying to take Miller on the final corner?
That'll be brave.
Nothing doing that lap. So Miller now having a look at Kelly, a big lock-up from Garlic in turn one.
And Miller seems to be in a little bit of a stupid Aguri sandwich at the moment. Kelly's attacking Garlic a little bit ahead. Garlic's not really let Tranter run away all that much, so Lyne's the one running away, but it could be Kelly trying to go past Garlic and allow Miller through possibly, but there doesn't seem to be much of a difference between any of these drivers at the moment.
No. James will want to get his pace stabilised and get back past Mark and try and attack Dave here. Doesn't want to lose the advantage of that front row start.
I'm just going to wonder if we're going to see... Oh, well, it looks like Kelly's going to have a look down the inside of Garlic now. That's going to be quite difficult to defend, and Garlic lost a position on the inside already. Tranter's took him on the outside, and now Garlic's going to try and go on the inside.
Garlic to the inside as we come up to turn one then. Late on the brakes, but let's see what happens. No, Kelly's done it. Great move there. And look at Miller then trying to take advantage of a compromised James as we come to the second hairpin.
Yeah, well, Garlic just completely took such a defensive line that, you're completely right, he had to compromise his exit. And we're looking now at Winslade and Kimberley. Winslade going very aggressive, doing the Tranter style overtake there. These guys side by side, you go for this centre section of the track, and Winslade through up into 8th place.
That's a bold move there, and Dixon having a look at Kimberley as well then as they come to the final hairpin. Bit of a lock up there for Kimberley. Is that going to give Dixon a run now down the final back straight? And what's happened to Miller then? We've lost Rob Miller from the race. He's now down to last. He was attacking James Garlic for 4th, but it appears Rob Miller is out of this race.
I'll have to see if there's been some sort of technical issue or a retirement or something, but that looks flat out. It doesn't even say he's in the pits on our graphics there, so Miller seemingly lost somewhere. And Kimberley now back on the back of Winslade as he got through. Seems to have extended the gap on his teammate Dixon in the other Alpha lobby. Well, I was saying earlier, just we had Garlic, and Garlic lost that position by taking the inside line and then seemed to go on the outside line to defend against Kelly. But Kelly obviously made his way through very convincingly.
Yeah, and do you see how much grass these guys were taking as they came out of that moto section there? Presumably that's an off track, and yet another lock up there from Garlic. So let's take a look at the order then. We've got David Lyne in first place still, Mark Tranter in second, Gavin Kelly up to third place, James Garlic has slipped from second to 4th, Stephen Batty in 5th place, and then Gary Richards, the second Williams, is in 6th place, Winslade is in P7, then we've got Jim Kimberley in 8th, 9th is Paul Dixon, 10th is Gary Jones, and Rob Miller in retirement.
It's a shame for Miller. It's a shame for the championship as well. We were just talking before the race about the well, 2-horse race was the word. I think it's a 1-horse race with Lyne, who's got very much a grasp on that trophy. But Miller, of course, will lose so many points from this, or we'll have it as a write-off as we get into the part of the championship now where we start dropping some points, that you really can't afford to drop points with how much of a lead that Lyne has got.
Yeah, but it'd be better for him to drop a 0 and try and carry a small score, I guess. But I can't remember off the top of my head how many low scores he's got. But as you say, it's all about those 1, 2, 3 results that you need.
Indeed, and Batty there just having a look on the inside of Garlic, and no way through, but really closed up. So Kelly's extended his lead a little bit now, and Batty trying to be the next Stupidaguri to demote Garlic down the order. Garlic going, he can use a lot of the runoff there, as we'll see the cars behind doing as well. But yeah, Batty putting a lot of pressure now on Garlic, who locks up once again.
Yeah, it's been a real trait of this season. James and the brake pedal and the skip barber. I don't know if it's just, maybe it's car specific for him. I'll have to see what happens when we move to the Formula Renault 2.0 next year.
Well, I've been just looking at him in this battle, and I don't know. We can't see a lot of crash again, and Batty following through, doesn't want to lose any space. He looks on the inside now. That's going to be difficult to defend. Garlic seeming to be
brave moves.
Yeah, Garlic seeming to be able to stick it on the outside, but Batty's now got the inside line possibly again on the final corner.
Trying to pick up a slipstream as they come to this final run.
So we see just there, that's what I was going to bring up, that little puff of tyre smoke, and I'm just wondering now, as we're watching it in this race in particular, if it's the actual technical difficulties on the internet. So again, that is a lockup. If Garlic's having braking issues, or if the lag is causing that tyre smoke when he's not actually locking up all that much. It seems every single corner there just seems to be a puff of smoke coming out of his tyres.
Yeah, that's a good point actually, yeah. We can see that he's definitely experiencing some network issues.
One wonders if it's a ploy from the Williams driver to distract from those around him. Of course, Batty's not going to see the exact same thing that we're seeing here, but he will see a car disappearing and maybe a bit nervous on how close to get to that Williams.
Yeah, good point. We can see this battle is sort of letting Gavin Kelly sort of scamper away ahead of these two. He's got a couple of seconds gap now.
Batty's on the inside again now. This could be the move.
Oh, nicely done by Stephen Batty there. Up to 4th place. So David Lyne still the leader, but Mark Tranter has now taken the fastest lap from Dave, a 104.268 currently. Gavin Kelly in 3rd place, and his Stupidaguri teammate is in 4th behind him. And then we've got a Williams 5-6 currently, with Garlic and Richards. On board now with Gary Jones as we came through the moto section, heading up to the final hairpin on the track. And he's looking at the back of Paul Dixon.
He's got 2 Alpha Blobbies up ahead of him, so there's 3 lots of team combinations at the moment. You've got Kelly and Batty and Stupidaguri in 3rd and 4th. 5th and 6th, Garlic and Richards, the Williams drivers, and then 8th and 9th, Kimberley and Dixon of Alpha Blobby. The team's really sticking close together.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, it's just the Cheggers and the Virgin Grips that are not playing the team game.
Saw quite a difference of line there, as we see from this onboard of Jones. There's 2 Stupidiguris, easy for me to say, ahead of it. Stupidiguris, Alpha Blobby, sorry, ahead of him, taking a lot of that runoff off the final corner of the track, and Jones taking a much tighter line. And just wonder if he's maybe better. Just seeing how much sliding he's doing. See if he's maybe better to get a big runoff off the back of Dixon by taking that wider line off that last corner.
Yeah. He's probably get better following Kimberley. Seem to have a very good line through the hairpin at Summit Point and here, so needs to be paying attention to what the drivers ahead are doing and trying to mirror it.
Of course, track limits are an issue in iRacing, but this final corner, as you can see perfectly there, that is not an off track. That runoff is perfectly allowable, unlike what we'll be seeing next week at Spa, which has off track galore.
Yes, very difficult track limits. You certainly can't mirror what we see in the Formula 1 races there. So we're looking down at Kimberley, Dixon and Jones coming through the middle hairpin.
This does seem to be the closest the drivers are on track at the moment, these three, looking at the track map. Tranter's making his way closer to Lyne, but Lyne easily managing to extend his lead as we just see them bypass us on this other section of track around this penultimate corner.
Indeed, yeah. So here is that front two then coming through the first corner and heading down to the middle hairpin. The gap just slightly under a second now. Tranter's new fastest lap of 104.008 compared to Dave's 104.108, so about a tenth in it.
I do wonder, as we're in this late stage of the championship now, we've got Tranter right on the back of Lyne. Lyne, of course, has had the pace from race one, which is exactly why he's at the lead of the championship. But last season's champion, Tranter, could really, well, we're seeing now, he's got used to the car, I think. He seems to have always picked up those wins now, and I just wonder how much further ahead or closer he could be to Lyne had he had that pace at the start of the championship.
Well, he's always been there or thereabouts, hasn't he? But I think the difference is that I think Dave enjoys driving the Skip Barber a bit more than Mark does. Mark would prefer something with a lot more power, a lot more downforce, or a GT3 car, because he does a lot of GT3 racing in other leagues. And the Skip Barber just not something he particularly enjoys racing. So the fact that he's already had 2 wins in this championship and is, as you say at the moment, the fastest car in this race, it's all the more remarkable. So here we are then. This is Winslade against Richards for 6th and 7th place.
Winslade looking there to be showing just how to lock up a car, just as Richards' teammate has been doing all race.
Yeah. So I wonder what's happened here then, because Richards was comfortably ahead of Winslade, but Winslade just seems to have woken up a bit, and he's now banging in a similar pace to Lyne up ahead.
Well, we are much further through this race now, so this is the last third of the race, and I just wonder maybe Richards having an issue, maybe dropping a few seconds against his teammate Garlic, who was just up ahead of him.
Yeah.
Winslade now taking that much more wider line, which is, you can see the pace difference is right up on the back now of Richards.
Going to the outside line.
Oof. Didn't think that was going to be an overtaking move, but it almost was then. That was audacious.
Let's see what happens as we come to the middle hairpin then. Wow.
Just enough to slow it down there, wow.
Windsor just seemed to be able to carry so much more speed than Richards there.
Seemed to be really confident on his brakes as well. It's stopping the car onto that middle hairpin, which is a nightmare to try and pass. It looks so inviting, being so on camber, a big lock up there for Winslade. But in actual fact, there's only one, well, there's several lines through there, but there doesn't seem to be much of an overtaking line through there. It'd be very difficult to get past.
Yeah, you do need to. He's hunting the slipstream, look. Wow, properly sideways as he comes through the final corner.
And Winslade just rallying the car around there, wasn't he? So Winslade now really hunting Richards down, and see to again the closest battle we've got on track is these two guys at the moment for some decent points. Another lock up there for Winslade. I just wonder if Richards can keep it. Oh, I was going to say the closest battle. This looks to be the closest battle now. Tranter right on the tail of Lyne.
Wow, look at this. This is tasty for the win. As Lyne and Tranter head down the back straight then to complete another lap. This is lap 21 of the race.
4 tenths between them.
Yeah. But it's such a tricky track to overtake on, so, you know, it can be, you can have fast train racing, but you've got to... Whoa! Wow! Mark Tranter just not mucking about, going straight to the inside into turn 1.
You're completely right, though. It's a very difficult track to overtake on, but I just think that with that sort of pressure you'll be applying on Lyne, of course, so fast on a single lap, but Tranter's got, well, arguably the best racecraft in the league, that can he just pressure a mistake out of Lyne, or can Lyne keep him behind with his quick pace? Yeah.
And I mean, Lyne mentioned to me previously, he said, you know, it seems to be a different driver every week that he seems to be racing for the win against, and someone just seems, despite him being faster all the way through the practice during the week, that when it comes to race day, someone is there racing with him and causing him issues. And but it's not the same driver every week, and that's probably key to why he is so far ahead in the championship right now.
Consistency to be at the front, indeed.
Here we go then, down into turn 1 again, transfer to the inside. Lyne leaving the door open, electing to run around the outside, which will give him the inside line for the next hairpin.
Will it?
But amazing, Tranter is ahead.
That small little chicane there just seemed to be the undoing of Lyne, because that looked like he'd have the inside line, like you say, for that inside, that left-hand hairpin, which we're about to go and see, and contact before they even made it there for Winslade and Richards. Richards now facing the wrong way, going to be losing so much time. Winslade just straight into the back of him.
Yeah, difficult to see what happened there. Hopefully we can get a replay. So now we're on board with David Lyne chasing Mark Tranter. Now in Mark Tranter in the lead, Lyne down to second place. Didn't seem to have a rival all of the all championship until this point, so that's quite surprising to see. And we've just got 4 laps to go in this race. Here we go into turn 1 then.
This was
David Lyne get the run.
This was a chicane here, this little left-right before the hairpin that I mentioned. It's so difficult to have 2 cars going straight through there that I don't know if Lyne backed out of it. If we get a replay, maybe we'll see. But yeah, that's where I think he really could have stuck in and be on the inside for the hairpin corner, and maybe just nudged ahead.
Yeah, you're right. So we're on board now with Winslade into the corner where we just had that issue, and he is backing right off. You can see, driving off the track and letting Richards through.
The anti-dirty Winslade.
Yeah. It looked like he'd been pressuring and trying to make it through for a number of laps, so but he certainly wouldn't want to have done it dirty. So good to see him letting him through, and means battle will recommence for these two for another 3 laps.
Very gentlemanly, really, isn't it? That's didn't seem to be any steward issues or time penalties applied, but just let Richards get past, as he knew that wasn't the way to get that overtake done. So yeah, and a round of applause there for Mr. Dirty Winslade.
Indeed, yeah. And here we see the 8th, 9th and 10th are all looking very close together on track. Exciting to see. Is that Jones looking to the inside of Dixon? No, not quite this time.
It's been the entire race, hasn't it? The Alpha Blobbers and Jones behind, just running as a trio of cars. Kimberley being a little bit of a cork in the bottle, maybe. And 30 seconds behind the lead now as we're approaching the final laps of this race.
Yes, but Kimberley was he was 8th on the grid, something like that. He was a little bit higher up and seemed to have the measure of this track. I know he's done a lot of racing around here in the MX-5.
Lyne now got 2 laps to get back past to take the lead. Is that Batty on the back of Kelly now?
Yeah, Batty has found a lot of pace in the last few laps and has been running consistent 104.0s for the last few laps, which is is on pace with like the fastest drivers in the race, so that's great to see. I expect there'll be pressure on the league organisers to use the other layout of this track when we come back next time to enable this corner here to become an overtaking space again, because you do get a much faster run.
There really isn't the pace differential, is there, to make that overtake happen there on this time. If you have that poor exit into that penultimate corner on the normal layout, it really can impact how good or bad you can defend as we get onto the final lap now.
Yeah, as you say, it's quite key. So Lyne and Trent are still very close together then, less than 6/10 between the two of them, and this is Winslade still pressuring Richards, still trying to find a way through.
A contactless way through, I'd say.
Yes. Into the inside, now the outside.
Also outbraked himself.
Yeah, he's gone. He's spun out. No pressure from behind, so he should be able to... What's happening here?
Kimberly looking at the cones, going through the cones, and was it retiring from the race on the last lap? So Kimberly in the pits now.
That's very strange.
Still going to get a point, of course, with Miller's early exit from this race, and now Tranter coming around that final corner.
Yeah, so Mark Tranter, for the third time this season, is going to win, and wins at Tsukuba. And that's well, he won here last year as well, didn't he, last season. David Lyne coming home in second place. Gavin Kelly holds off Stephen Batty for third, and so Stephen Batty in fourth. James Garlick comes home in fifth. And we just wait to see. There's Richards coming around the final corner now.
Quite a gap between the top five, isn't there? The top five in the race.
Yes. Yeah, Gary Richards comes home in P6. Well, obviously they lost a lot of time with that incident between Richards and Winslade. And there's Paul Dixon coming home in 8th, Gary Jones in 9th, and Kimberley will finish 10th in the pits.
What might have been for Rob Miller as well, bless. That's really unfortunate. He's missing out on the end of this race in the championship. It should have been vital for him.
Yeah, that's a big shame. That's unfortunate to see. We were hoping to see more of a battle. So a bit of a quiet race then. Not many overtakes going on. So let's just run you through the final order then. Mark Tranter wins the race. David Lyne comes home in second place with Gavin Kelly on the podium in third. Stephen Batty is in fourth place with James Garlick in fifth. Gary Richards, his teammate, is in 6th place with Winslade coming home in 7th. Then we've got Paul Dixon in 8th, Gary Jones in 9th, Jim Kimberley comes home in 10th for a final point, and Rob Miller, with that early retirement from a technical failure, is in 11th. Let's look at the championship standings now then. So David Lyne is on 163 points compared to Rob Miller staying on 125. That's a big gap now, and a big ask for those final two races of the season. Gavin Kelly is 3rd place on 121. That's getting quite close between those two. And then Mark Tranter in 4th. Garlick, Batty, Winslade, Richards, Dixon, Bibby, Jones, Kimberley, Hankin, Lawrence Aaron Jenkins, Burnett and Hollick. And as we take a look at the team standings then, Stupid Aguri with a huge haul of points with that 3rd and 4th place around on 212 points. 190 for the Keith Chegwin Memorial team. 3rd is the Williams team, 4th Little and Large, 5th Verge of Grip, 10 points behind Little and Large, and then 6th is the Dirty Legends, 7th Alpha Blobby, and 8th Lucky Bibbs. Well, a bit of a quiet race there, Jim. Not a huge amount of action compared to what we've seen in previous weeks.
No, could have some ramifications of the championship. The Lyne essentially extending his lead, although we're at the point of the championship where points are going to be a little less important to the top, and it's all about having decent results to drop fewer points.
Yes, absolutely. So, but quite a few of these people have a 0 in their standings. So, Dave Lyne's the only person dropping 1 point from his 1 point, 10th place, isn't he, coming Laguna Seca, so that he drops that point so far, whereas everyone else seems to be dropping a 0.
Blind inconsistency like he has on his laps.
Indeed, yeah. So next time out then, we will be going to Spa-Francorchamps, the famous track in Belgium, which will be quite an interesting one with these slower cars going around such a big long track, so that'll be quite interesting to see. Jim, where can we see you on the internet?
Yeah, well, as ever, you can find more of my work on medium.com, where I write about F1, or on YouTube for my satire series, The F1 Week That Was, or you can follow me on Instagram for a little bit of both. Just search for Jim on F1 on any of those.
Fantastic. And you can find us at thelimitofadhesion.com, or come and find us at facebook.com/thelimitofadhesion. Don't forget to like and subscribe our videos on YouTube, and you can find us on Discord. Well, Jim, thanks so much for being here and calling the race with me once again.
Always a pleasure. I'll see you in Belgium.
Yep, excellent stuff. And see you all next time. Thanks very much for watching. Goodbye.